Hello, everybody. This is your captain. This is your captain speaking. Today we're gonna be flying at 33,000 feet. I like Quagmire when he does his. This is your captain speaking. Giggity. And none of this has anything to do with the video request that we have. I'm also very tired. I'm in Italy. Yeah, I'm in Italy. And the bell wasn't on purpose. They got bells in churches all over the place. Bellagio, specifically. Some hoity hotel. And I have to wait for the thing to stop doing it before I go on. Okay. I got an email, and he writes, "Here's the scoop. After several years of living an independent lifestyle with a pretty-faced, emotionally and financial succubus, as independent as one can be in that circumstance anyway, I lost my job and subsequently severed all contact with the bitch. All my plans to get another job and rent a small cabin by the Canadian border fell through, and the money ran out. He lives in Washington. So I'm back at home for the time being. I found a nice job hauling and removing junk from construction sites and people's houses. It's some serious dirty jobs type shit, but I'm really enjoying it overall, and I keep what I find. For my next move, I am planning on enrolling into welding school this winter. I'm a blacksmith by hobby, and metalwork has always given me a half chub." I don't even know what that means. Maybe the insurance company. In the meantime, I've been brewing up some plans and crunching the numbers for a road trip across the U.S. For the trip, I'm saving to buy an El Camino debt-free because they are awesome and because I can plop a twin mattress in the back and live out of it as I go along. I've calculated fuel prices to be half my budget, but I'll be hauling fuel tanks to fill up in the cheapest states as I pass through and using a bike for city travel. The rough draft of my route goes as follows: Portland, Reno, San Francisco, LA, Vegas, Denver, New Orleans, Miami, New York, Chicago, Minneapolis, the Bakken oil fields, and back home. I have no naive beliefs about finding myself. I just want to explore, see some friends, bed some girls, and learn some more lessons about independence, self-reliance, and this strange place that everyone claims they know enough to call home. I've considered the possibility of taking temp work as I go along to better get to know the places I visit. Any advice about the trip? Any places you'd like to recommend? I've thought that it might be more responsible to get back on my feet before I embark. Perfectly having no rent makes this a much more feasible endeavor, and I'd rather like the idea of getting this done in my mid-20s a lot better than I'm in my 60s. I'm also confident that on my return, I'll be much better equipped to tackle my future going forward. Video would be awesome. Some friends of mine watch your channel, and on their behalf, thank you, Captain. Okay, so let's before we talk about your places to go and what I recommend, let's talk about logistics first. One, if you're only going to do this one trip, see if you can't rent a vehicle instead. Buying the El Camino, those things are old, dude, and you're going to have mechanical problems. I guarantee you'll have mechanical problems driving to all these places. So I would see if you can't rent a van for a long term and do like my good buddy Phil did with his dog. Sleep in the van, throw down a mattress, and you'll just stop at waysides. You have cover, you don't have to worry about weather, all that other stuff. Another thing, timing. Don't do this in winter. Do it during at least spring. You'll run into snow and hell in the northern states, and you go through some of these passes up in the Rockies, and they're snowed up. And yeah, it could get really bad, and you may even want to wait for fall so that there is no snow, because there could be snow not 16,000, but 13,000 feet up. So you got to worry about that. In other words, just get something you could stay warm inside and lay down and be reasonably warm. And then also do it like anywhere between spring and early fall. Don't do it in winter. And on top of it, Minnesota and the northern states just suck during winter. Then what else? Yeah, we're already going into winter, so I'd use this extra time to build up the money that you could afford cash. Don't be fucking around with gas cans and all that crap. You're not going to save the money. By the time you're done spending the time getting gas cans and having to worry about spillage and that they stink up the back and that it makes you smell like gas and you can't sleep, then you got to go get a hotel or sleep outside. Just work the extra month or whatever it's going to take to that you don't need to worry about where you're getting gas. And you can You can do that nowadays pretty effectively anyway without gas cans. You just fill up in states that, right at the border or a little bit before the border, before you get into some higher tax states. Naturally, in the South and the West, you're gonna have your lowest prices, and then your major metropolitan cities and in your left coasts, they're gonna ass rape you. So there's that. Now, in terms of what to visit, I'll be honest with you, most of the shit is in the West that's worth seeing. I know you're in Washington State, and so you've already probably had enough of the Cascades. But my favorite is the American Southwest. In particular, I like Vegas a lot. Not because there's a lot unto Vegas itself. There is. It's a very enjoyable town. But within a 2-hour drive in any direction, 3-hour drive, you can hit a ton of things. Absolute musts is Canyonlands National Park, and right across the street is Arches National Park. You can also, within that area, hit Zion, which I would call a must. Grand Canyon, unless you plan to hike it, you're really just going to look at it. So from a scheduling standpoint, there's not much you can do except, well, there it is. Okay. What else? So yes, definitely those areas is what I would insist on. Yosemite Park is very nice. And otherwise, I do the national parks. That's what it is for me. Vegas, the town, is pretty cool too. Phoenix is all right. That's if you want to go to Phoenix, because in another email you addressed that you were interested in seeing these cities. And what you'll find in different cities is, different cities have a different personality. Honestly, though, I'm not a big city guy. I would hit St. Petersburg, Florida, and Clearwater in the same area. Tampa, not so much. Don't worry about Miami. That was like the popular thing back in the 2000 odds. Like, ooh, Miami is the new thing. Okay. You don't need to do the Florida Keys. They're islands. Just go to a beach in Florida. It's all the same. New York, you'll do. Okay, there it is, New York. Chicago, yeah. I wouldn't bother with Philadelphia or Pittsburgh or any of those East Coast towns. I really wouldn't. They're just former shell shitholes. That's really all they are. I know you got friends out there. Mammoth Cave is pretty cool in Kentucky. Smoky Mountain National Park. Never been up New England, like Arcadia National Park or anything like that. I honestly would sacrifice nearly all, like maybe go to Florida. That way you can enjoy Texas. But I'd get your ass back to the West. I'd spend a lot of time just fucking around there. It's just going to be that much better. Monuments. I think Monument National something. Kayenta, Utah. Or is it Arizona? The Navajo Indian Reservation. There's the National Monuments or the Monuments Hall or something. It's where the old Wile E. Coyote things. Those are a must too. That's south of Moab, which is where Canyonlands and Arches National Park, but you just drive through it. I'm just trying to give you options. You really have to take a red dots and kind of figure out a way to hit them all. And then north of the Southwest, Dinosaur National Monument in Vernal, Utah is pretty cool. Rocky Mountains, yeah, it's cool. And I like Denver. You're not going to be like flabbergasted. I mean, they're mountains, they're there. But you're not going to be flabbergasted. They're not as dramatic as, say, the Alps or the Canadian Rockies. But what's great about that is, like Denver, there's something to do, and you can always find cheap hotels or whatever, but you're not going to be staying in hotels. Wyoming, I wouldn't bother with it. You can do Yellowstone. I wouldn't do Yellowstone, but right next to it is this thing called Chief Joseph's Highway. That is an awesome drive, and you go through Beartooth Pass down into Red Lodge and then into Montana. That is a definite must. Some people really like Glacier. It's good. Glacier is definitely worth your time if you're willing to drive there. But I think you'll be mountained out. You'll see enough. Plus, the Cascades are pretty dramatic unto themselves. So it's not like Glacier National Park is going to be anything you haven't seen. Then finally, what I would absolutely recommend is spending a little bit of time in the Black Hills, where you do Badlands National Park, you do the Black Hills, you do the Needles Highway, you do Spearfish Canyon, Harney's Peak, there's Mount Rushmore as well, and Deadwood is a great place to go. There's other casinos, like, what is it, Black Hawk is in the Rocky Mountains just outside of Denver, but I really do have a passion or a soft spot for the Black Hills. For cities, though, yeah, I mean, I'm not a city guy. Chicago, you'll drive through it, you'll see it. New York, there it is. Dallas is a fun town. I like Dallas, but again, you gotta drive through it and it's expensive. Yeah, they're you know, a town is a town is a town. It really is. If you've been to enough, you're kind of And then California, I know, do the Pacific Coast Highway. Fuck California, fuck them. Don't give them your money. You're gonna run into traffic between San Francisco and San Diego. It's all traffic. That's all it's gonna be. So yeah, so those are the things I recommend. I'm not a big city guy. Oh, one another thing I did forget to mention logistically. See if you can, couch surf. Look at couchsurfing.com or Airbnb. Do it on the cheap if you need to. I know you're going to sleep in your van, but if you needed to crash, it's always good to have a shower. And also, another reason to do it during summer is so there's like streams or rivers you can swim and bathe in and not have to like get a hotel, because you're going to stink after a while. Trust me, I used to sleep in my car on waysides, and yeah, you do stink. And the closer you are to the mountains, the colder that water is going to be. So just, sometimes you want to do a little in the wayside sink because the water is somewhat warm. Trust me, you look at that first pool of mountain stream water like, oh yeah, let's jump into it. You jump into it, you turn into a girl. You're just like, ah! And that's it's true. Anyway, that's it. I'm gonna go to bed. I still think I'm on U.S. time. Best of luck to your endeavors, and of course, if you're in Minneapolis, let us know. Toodles.